Oh, the last one. The last one. Hear the music. Alright, now this episode of DuckTales is really freaking interesting, I must admit. I think it's even more interesting than the last one with the whole Pharaoh and everything. Now, this one there is Scrooge, and this is another episode with no Donald, but it's Scrooge, Webby, Louie, and Launchpad, and Dewey, and we're going to go climb this big mountain called Mount Neverrest that nobody was able to attain. Nobody was able to climb all the way at the top. And the closest they came, that was the furthest, was this adventurer known as Mallardy. And then, as any episodes of DuckTales that we've been getting recently, there's two plots in them. And the subplot is that Launchpad basically gets convinced by some con artist that mountain fever or something like that exists. And that, you know, if he doesn't wear this certain amount of stuff to protect him, then he'll succumb to it. And then because Launchpad is an idiot, he does buy it, even though the prices are ridiculous. And as for Louie, he just remains, he doesn't want to go climb the mountain because he just rather stay in civilization, because it turns out that the whole area is just a little tourist spot, and that's why he's able to enjoy himself. He goes to the spa and everything while Huey, Dewey, Webby, and Scrooge go up to the mountain. And Webby really wants, her dream was always to go sledding up the biggest mountain, up the biggest slide, and then Dewey's gonna help her with that, going along with Huey and Scrooge always wants to climb the top to go further than Mallardy. And Mallardy is also a guy that he's been inspired by before, and he actually wants to go at the top as well. But as they go up the mountains and they constantly keep trying to reach the very top, there are moments where they do go around in a circle, which it appears to be. As they go up the mountaintops, you do see a couple things that do look familiar, especially this one rock that I believe Huey called it something bunny, or he called it something a bunny related, but they do see it twice, and then it seems kind of odd because some places are looking familiar. Not only that, some in his map, his woodchuck map that he loves reading, he sees that something is off with the mountain, something doesn't seem right, and he's kind of starting to say, what's the point of doing this at the moment? And then when they go into a cave that Scrooge mentioned that they should go through, this cave ends up closing off behind them, which is kind of odd. But once they go in the cave, you do see a skeleton there, and it turns out to be Mallardy. And it turns out when Mallardy's great adventure going the furthest, apparently Scrooge was a part of that 75 years ago when he was younger, and when he first had his first $1 million, he was a part of that adventure. And then Mallardy cut him loose when they were going up the mountain, and Scrooge was dangling from bottom, and then Mallardy wanted him to cut the load, but Scrooge was too worried and afraid to do that, so Mallardy cut him loose. This explains why Scrooge really wants to be the furthest, and not only that, really reach the peak, because it's something that he regrets not being able to do, go at the top, and he has resentment towards Mallardy. And it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it is a pretty serious moment. You do find their way out thanks to the help of Webby. It apparently turns out that they reach right back to where the statue, where the rocky mountain that resembles a bunny, it still is. And it seemed kind of odd to Huey, still wants more, even to how this is occurring. And then when they seem to finally come closer to the peak, momentarily, Webby and Dewey, they end up falling off the cliff. And then when they fall off the cliff, it turns out that they're on top of near where the peak is almost at, which is kind of odd. And Huey tests out a theory where he takes a snowball and he throws it down where they were coming from, and then big revelation, the whole mountain is covered with wormholes, which explains why it's called Mount Neverrest, because nobody's able to climb it due to the fact that it's a mind-bending mountain. It's a mountain with several wormholes, so you're going back in circles due to the fact that you're not sure what is occurring and where you are. And thanks to the fact that Huey figured this out, they look for certain wormholes that will lead them to the peak, mainly Scrooge. And then as for Dewey and Webby, they're trying to find their sled so they can be able to slide down. And then when Scrooge, once he goes a little closer, basically to one pillar that leads him right there to it, the wormhole prevents him from even going up there. And then as he keeps trying to jump through that wormhole and it keeps placing him back on the pillar, it starts to crack and then it starts to tumble. And then Huey convinces him, there's no point of trying, you already went furthest that you can, you're already the furthest person to go on the mountain. Isn't that good enough? And there's no point in trying when it just comes to a point where something is not supposed to happen or it's too difficult, there's nothing wrong with just stopping and just not doing it. Scrooge comes to agree with this. The mountain starts to crumble already, and then not only that, it starts to make a... Once that, they try to get out there as fast as they can. Scrooge grabs the sledding board, and then he's able to grab Dewey and Webby, and then they start sledding down a big mountain that is just tumbling down above them, and they're trying to get away as fast as they can. Even Huey, who's not on the sled at the moment, is running down. He's trying to get out of there as fast as he can, but then they finally get him. That they're sliding down, but as soon as it's coming close to get them, as you know, they go through a wormhole. Each moment it seems like a close call, and at the same time, when they go through another wormhole, it puts them closer to it. It just gets all a little hectic there, and then we get back to Louie and Launchpad. And Launchpad, he's still being an idiot, but Louie sees that he's been conned, and then he said, nobody cons my family but me. And then he basically out-cons a con, tricks him, and then not only that, basically get people to see that he is a con man, and everybody starts to, I guess, beat the crap out of him from what I'm seeing there. Wraps up basically there, and then everything's pretty much settled in the end because they are the first to go. And I say this was really interesting. This was a really interesting episode. I think the whole thing with the wormhole was really well done. I actually think that's a good reason to call him MT.Neverrest, and I think that's a real good reveal right there. But that's mostly everything I have to say about this episode. I know I went kind of fast with everything, but I'm sorry about that. And as always, I'm going to continue to do DuckTales videos now that I'm all caught up. And as always, guys, if there's any other movies, TV shows, trailers, animes, of any sort that you guys want me to talk about, please do comment below. Don't fail to ring that bell. Like if you dare. Subscribe if you care. And Kia for Miles.
Star, I'm burning out fast, I try to shine.